Good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news. We're broadcasting live, and then we're available on demand and available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple Television, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023. We're live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson, and this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ+ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it.
HOTspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same models of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ+ community. Our mission? Support the 10 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, student youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ media companies in America, HOTspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 38 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader community.
Well, let's welcome anchor FayWhat. She's a radio and television personality and is the host of the FayWhat Show, the first LGBTQ+ morning program, Mondays at 9 a.m., and then on demand on all streaming and social media platforms. She's also a hostess and MC for many South Florida events. Welcome, Faye.
Hello, everyone. So happy to be here representing the L for lesbian, not loser. Okay, get that right. All right. So in the gay agenda, South Florida, Womanfest Sunset Sail featuring special guest Jessica Wachs Duo August 19th. Set sail upon the Argo Novice for Womanfest Sunset Sail in conjunction with the Key West Business Guild and Gay Key West. It's part of Womanfest, a 5-day island-wide celebration of women worldwide. The Sunset Sail will take you on a 2-hour sailing experience on the magical green waters where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Gulf of Mexico. The event will feature delicious food and drink, including Florida craft beers and the sounds of Jessica Wachs Duo. SV Argo Novice is a boat tour agency of Key West that offers sunset and brunch sailing with swim and snorkel services. All public sails aboard the Argo Novice are dog-friendly and non-smoking. Your sailing at the event will cost you just $99, and a percentage of every ticket purchase is donated back to the Key West Business Guild to assist with future Womanfest events. Tickets can be bought online right now at womanfest.com.
Let's welcome John Hayden, a journalist for 28 years. He now works for several outlets, including Out South Florida, as the senior reporter and community editor. Welcome, John.
In the gay agenda, South Florida, HOTspots Happening Out Art Gallery opening reception celebrates PrideFête August 5th. HOTspots Happening Out Art Gallery with Dennis Dean is celebrating Caribbean culture and art in honor of PrideFête. The event takes place August 5th from 6 to 9 p.m. A complimentary bar and refreshments will be available. HOTspots Happening Out Art Gallery with Dennis Dean is an innovative art gallery highlighting a revolving display of artwork and talent each month. The PrideFête Art Gallery event will feature many talented artists from France Zephyrin, Akeda X, Andrew Holloman, Franklin Sinanon, Lupe Lawrence, Axel Martinez, Julian Kerr, and Jay St. Laur. It will also highlight exhibits of Island Space Caribbean Museum. The event is sponsored by Sterling Accounting. The gallery is the only LGBTQ+ dedicated art gallery in Florida. Do not miss this beautiful art and artistry of the Caribbean at the gallery. It's open to everyone. Find out more at hotspotsmagazine.com.
Let's welcome anchor Cindy Brown. Cindy was an early organizer of the Miami AIDS Walk and the White Party for Care resource. She is the program director for Lambda Living Program at Jewish Community Services, and she also served as the executive director of the MDGLCC Foundation. Welcome, Cindy.
Hello, so glad to be here. In the Gay Agenda South Florida, Female Brewfest 2023 comes to Fort Lauderdale September 9th. Craft the perfect day out in Fort Lauderdale with some of your favorite brewsters. Female Brewfest 2023 is like no other in South Florida, celebrating and highlighting women in the brewing industry. This is an outdoor festival and will be held on September 9th at Esplanade Park. Female Brewfest is a platform that hosts female beer experts and brewsters to give an insight into the beer industry. For this upcoming event, attendees can choose their festival experience. The festival is offering sensory training, beer off, flavor course, or a beer plus food pairing. A portion of the proceeds of the event will go to Abandoned Pet Rescue. Tickets and further details can be found at femalebrewfest.com.
Let's welcome anchor Dr. Bobby Huen. He is a certified civil and family mediator and a founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. From Hong Kong and having grown up across the world, he can offer a global perspective on current events. Welcome, Bobby.
Thanks, Al. And in the Gay Agenda South Florida, Georgie's Alibi star TP Lords presents 5 Minutes of Fame Karaoke Mondays. It's time to karaoke with the Queen, thanks to 5 Minutes of Fame Karaoke with drag superstar TP Lords. It's held every Monday at Georgie's Alibi Monkey Bar in Wilton Manors. The bar is a longtime local gay hangout known for serving strong drinks and snacks amid festive surroundings. Alibi started it all in making Wilton Manors one of the most important queer neighborhoods in America. This event will be a no-cover karaoke with $6 for Stoli, $5 for Fireball, and $5 for Draft. The event will start at 10 p.m. and the kitchen will stay open until 11 p.m. Find out more at alibiwiltonmanors.com.
We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, August 2nd. Let's begin by queering up trans rights. New executive order from Oklahoma governor targets transgender rights. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt directed state agencies to use narrow definitions of female and male in the latest attack on transgender rights in a state that already has laws targeting bathroom use, healthcare, and sports teams for transgender people. Stitt signed the executive order flanked by women from the anti-trans group Independent Women's Voice, including Riley Gaines, a former University of Kentucky swimmer known for criticizing an NCAA decision allowing transgender swimmer Leah Thompson to compete against her in a women's championship race. The executive order also includes definitions for the words man, boy, woman, girl, father, and mother. The order specifically defines a female as a, quote, person whose biological reproductive system is designed to produce ova, end quote. And Oklahoma defines a male as a, quote, person whose biological reproductive system is designed to fertilize the ova of a female, end quote. It also directs schools and other state agencies to use these definitions when collecting vital statistics and further directs schools to provide dedicated restrooms and locker room facilities for boys and girls, respectively. Stitt's order, dubbed the Women's Bill of Rights by its supporters, is the latest Oklahoma policy to attack the rights of transgender people and is part of a growing trend in conservative states. It is a very bizarre bizarre decision by radical GOP. This governor is part of that group. The accomplishment to define what a woman is to this degree of detail and a male, I am going to ejaculate sperm, so therefore I am a male. And never in history have we seen to the extent of what some of these radical, especially evangelicals, are trying to define. We talked about this week what's going on in Iowa. So let me be very precise. Iowa is the stupid on the right of us, and Oklahoma is the stupid on the left of us. And those are the technical definitions that I will be using about Iowa and Oklahoma going forward.
Okay, but stupidity is very dangerous, Al.
Yes, it
okay, and Kevin Shit is taking a what?
Kevin Stitt.
Stitch.
That's not what I said.
No, I think you said exactly
I think I said it right on though.
I think you said
I think I said it right. So he's taking a page right out of DeSantis' playbook, you know.
I think he's worse.
And yeah, you're absolutely right, Cindy. And it's just disgusting. Like if you read this, they're basically saying that like transgender folks are like a plague, like a disease, you know, and that's so far from the truth.
And I'm curious to know what they would consider intersex people who are legitimately born with both.
Yeah.
They never met one, they never know one, so for them, they don't exist.
Like in Russia, there's never been an intersex person ever born in Oklahoma, so therefore it's not something that they have to deal with.
Yeah, you know, this first off, this bill or executive order or whatever it is, wholly unnecessary. For two reasons. One, we don't need to be hating on our trans brothers and sisters, but they've already hated on them. It's already basically everything is in law. This is just like and here I really mean it. Boom, take it.
Exactly.
So that said, I want to address Gaines for a moment. I am tired of her. You lost.
Yes. Yeah.
And you lost to another woman. And you have made so much hay out of being a loser. In fact, you celebrate your loserness because you are making an entire career on it. No one is ever going to care about you once you are no longer in a pool and are able to make a splash with your right-wing enablers. You are a bad person, and you're truly the definition of a sore loser.
Wow.
And the truth is, I mean, as much as I want to say it, is that GOP has nothing to promote on. They don't have any policies. They don't have any proposals. They have nothing about rescuing the economy or, you know, make people get off the opioid addiction problem. So they find a scapegoat, and transgender people are the new scapegoat.
You know, before we move on to John's story, one last thought. I've just interviewed Zoe Zephyr. And she is the trans House representative in Montana, where she called out the House floor of what they were doing in Montana to the trans community. And the reasonable First Amendment free speech response was to ban her from being able to speak as the elected official in the state house. Now let that digest a moment. I asked her specifically, was that a humiliating moment of what they did? And she, as quick as instantly, said, absolutely not. And the reason is because I am fighting for the LGBTQ community and specifically for trans, because these people are not going to be satisfied until we are eradicated. And she used that word. We've done this story tonight. Isn't that what the governor and the radical GOP are doing in definition in Oklahoma? They're pursuing eradication of people.
Yes.
We move on and we queer up out South Florida. Gay bashing victim recovers while community is on edge. We are not safe. LGBTQ+ from rural Wyoming to the neighborhoods of South Florida, we are surrounded by people who hate us. Some are open about it, like the Proud Boys and white supremacists. Others are anonymous cowards, like the ones who attacked Greg Breidenbach, called him faggot, and left him for dead on the side of a road in Coconut Grove. He now has metal plates in his head and invisible scars that will likely never heal. No arrests have been made. Greg was doing what many of us do every week. After an evening out with friends, he was walking home from a favorite bar, feeling safe and not thinking twice. We feel safe in our neighborhoods and in our routines. This incident is a stark reminder that we always have to be on the lookout. Anti-LGBTQ plus bigots don't always wear red hats, but they are empowered by those that do. Your mechanic, your waiter, your neighbor could just be faking it. We can't take our safety for granted. Wilton Manor's Assistant Police Chief, Darren Brodsky, shared some advice with me that's worth remembering. Stay in well-lit areas. Don't walk alone and tell friends the route you are taking. Be aware of your surroundings always. You can read more on Greg's struggle in this week's Out South Florida online and on stands now. Some good things to come out of this. The community has really rallied around him. He is home from the hospital and out and about, getting around. They started a GoFundMe for him for $20,000 to help his medical bills. It's over $28,000 now. So we are coming to the aid of our own and our allies, and he is going to need it. But the fact is, this could have been any of us. I live a mile from the heart of Wilton Drive, not in this kind of weather, but I do walk it in some times of the year. And there are people who live closer that are always walking. And you just have to be aware because you think you know your neighbors. We feel safe in this blue bubble. Yeah. But the fact is, it's not consistent. We don't know who truly hates us in their hearts.
Well, a lot more people seem to hate us than we know. We have to be safe, okay? Yeah. Just like your story said, all right? And Coconut Grove is a very affluent area. There's a lot of money there, all right?
Gay embracing.
And gay embracing. So police, do something, okay? There's freaking cameras everywhere. Find out who did this. That's the bottom line, okay? So more and more this is happening. And you know why this is happening? Because of the right-wing rhetoric, okay? Words have power. And so this gives all these crazy-ass folks the empowered to do shit like this. And that's why Greg is how he is right now. It's so freaking sad.
Yeah, it's happening over and over and over again. And in every aspect, every community, because we're in every community, and there are people in every single walk of life that hate us. Yeah. And it's horrible. I was talking to someone on the phone today, and I said, you know, I'm always terrified when I go to a Pride event. You know, I go anyway, but I am scared. And we shouldn't have to live that way.
It's not fair. Next, let's queer up gay culture. 28-year-old O'Shea Sibley stabbed in suspected hate crime at Brooklyn gas station while voguing. Police are searching for a 17-year-old kid they believe is responsible for the stabbing death of a Brooklyn man named O'Shea Sibley. The 28-year-old man was fatally stabbed at a Brooklyn gas station Saturday night in what police are investigating as a possible anti-gay hate crime. Sibley's friend, Otis Peña, conducted a Facebook Live where he said that O'Shea Sibley was dancing, voguing to a Beyonce song with friends at the gas station when a group of men approached them and started to shout gay slurs at them. The anti-gay slurs eventually led to a dispute. Peña, who witnessed the incident, said the argument escalated and one man stabbed Sibley. Peña said he went to Sibley's aid and put pressure on the wound. Police said Sibley was stabbed in the torso. He was taken to a local medical center where he was pronounced dead. Sibley was a professional dancer who was featured in several music videos and also performed at New York City's renowned Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. Brad Holman Segal, a New York State senator, tweeted about the incident Monday, saying he was, quote, heartbroken and enraged. To learn about Sibley's death. Of course you're heartbroken and enraged. This is crazy. And this is happening again. We just did a story right before. You know, this could have been any of us. All right. There are cameras everywhere. There's cameras everywhere in Brooklyn. Okay. There is no reason why they can't find this kid and hold him to justice. This is just crazy, crazy, crazy. I mean, it could have been any one of us that could have happened to.
And just to my point that I made after the last story, I will speak for myself. I always walk around, because I look like a big old lesbian, I always walk around with that thing in the back of my head saying, you know, be careful, remember, look where you are. I go to visit family in Panama City. I am a very different person walking around up in Panama City than I am down here. And
Those days of
breaks
just
my
walking
heart.
around, those days
Right.
of just
They're-
walking around and not thinking about that, Cindy, those days are over, mama. Okay?
I know,
So what
yeah.
you're feeling makes sense and we should all feel it. Everyone out there, be aware. Yes, be aware. Have your keys in your hand when you're walking to your car. Tell your friends where you're going. Have somebody walk you to your car. That's where we're at right now. I know it sounds freaking crazy, but yes, you have to be aware and look at the exits everywhere you're at. I do. Ask the boys. When I sit somewhere, I have to face the door. Okay? Like I'm going to get a mafia hat on me or some shit. Why I do that? Because I'm afraid.
Exactly.
I mean, this is a fear that person has always faced, or a Jewish person. You know, you work for Jewish Community Services. I mean, trust me, this thing follows you. You always look over your shoulder. I mean, I've got racist slurs yelled at me on Wilton Drive
I'm sure.
by some old queen. Like, you know, racism is not, prejudice is not limited, and prejudice is not just limited to them versus us. A lot of us inside the community have to learn something too.
Yeah, and
That's a good point.
This is going to sound silly, but prejudice isn't ubiquitous, but it is everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting to me as I hear all of you talk about the ramifications of how this story digests over you. It is not my experience at all. At all. I have never thought about this in my entire life. And I don't know, in quick summary, if that's white, if that's privileged, if that's male.
All of that. Enjoy it.
Exactly,
Enjoy it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and in that combination. And I've just never had this experience. And I've been here in South Florida, and you would think in coming to South Florida from a very red Sarasota, and stuff that I did previously, you know, stuff with RuPaul, etc., that you would think that my experience would be different, and it wasn't. And it's interesting to me that I have come and now here 5 years this fall, and this is a minority county. It has beyond diversity, and it's the first time in my life where I feel the pressure of what goes on, like in this conversation.
Right.
I'm hearing lesbians talk about fear. I'm hearing, you know, cultural discrimination issues. Somebody that is black and dancing to Beyonce and the reactions to it. I got one incident. It's been a couple of years, but it got quite a reaction. I was walking down a street here in Fort Lauderdale, and a truck, a pickup truck with several guys in it, slowed down and specifically opened a window and leaned out and called me faggot. And it was so breathtakingly shocking to me that first I laughed because it was just so juvenile. But later, as I digested and talked about it in social media, it was a recognition of, wait, this is what everyone is talking about. And this story washes over me from the standpoint of whether we have directly been affected by this or not. And clearly, I hear at the table, directly affected by it. We're all in this. This kid that was killed at this gas station, we're in this.
Right.
One other thing that I would say is I hope maybe in the share of our story and conversation and elevating this and other places that do the same thing, Beyonce, I hope you come out and voice for this, because the kid dies dancing to the music that he loved.
Right.
I hope you will support.
Right. Now let's go on to Queer Up Business. Conservatives are upset that liberal Doc Martens featured custom boots with trans characters. Doc Martens, the shoe and boot company, is coming under fire for a custom pair of boots that celebrate transgender people. Conservatives are outraged that the company worked with Colorado artist Jess Wachs on a custom pair of boots that show a trans masculine person on the left and a trans feminine person on the right with rainbow clouds, stars in the background. Only 2 pairs of the boots were produced, one to give away as part of a contest and one for the artist herself. But even that was too many for the bizarre and aggressively anti-trans gadfly Chris Elston, who said that Doc Martens sells boots to advertise cutting off the breasts of healthy girls. Anti-feminist activist Ian Miles Chung asked, Doc Martens is celebrating transgender mastectomy? When does this end? End quote. The shoe artist, Vosatig, said that she was very grateful to have been able to customize the pair of boots for the giveaway. The boots are part of the company's special media competition called DIY Docs, where artists customize a pair of boots and are then given away to someone. The company told Peak News that it had always embraced diversity and it will continue to support creativity and freedom of expression. Well, as a card-carrying lesbian, of course, I own Doc Martens. And I celebrate them. And all companies that balk at these anti-trans, anti-LGBT brouhahas that are stirred up, their Doc Martens company is doing the right thing, and I celebrate that for them. And I just might have to go out and buy another pair.
Get him, Cindy. Get him. Get him.
Cindy, can I see the card? I've been wanting to see this card that you speak of
It's got
forever.
a big vagina on it.
Oh, God.
Okay, you know what?
Sure you want to see it?
No.
We don't
You
want
know,
to-
Cindy, the irony, the ironic part is that Doc Martens has long been associated with skinhead culture, which that's to start.
interesting. Yeah,
now, it's for skinhead.
true.
Now, when it started in Europe, skinhead culture was not racist. It was co-opted. The style was co-opted later by racist skinheads. But just like Fred Perry and the yellow and black and yellow shirts, they are now so desperately trying to get away from. Doc Martens would love it if the transphobes and the conservatives run away from their brand, because that's when, you don't want to associate. Why would you want to associate yourself with a bunch of people whose sole mission is to hate people?
And
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
There were 2 pairs. They only made 2 pairs. Like,
Exactly.
seriously, liberals, you guys hate everything that's full of joy and not white cis.
You mean
okay?
conservative.
Conservative, excuse me. I mean, like, serious. It's like, are you kidding me? And Doc Martens have been worn by weirdos since the beginning of time, okay? We love Doc Martens. I mean, it's just so
I'm not a
ridiculous.
weirdo.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't. The fact that
Maybe a
only
little
2
bit.
pair. And by the way, Doc Martens are awesome. These shoes and the project in general makes Doc Martens even awesomer. So we'll just say that at the top. But it doesn't matter that they only made 2 pair. Remember the Bud Light controversy?
Right.
There was only one can with the spokesperson on it, a nice commemorative thing, and oh my God, people lost their shit.
Yeah.
I'm expecting
Veiny.
tomorrow to see Kid Rock taking an AK and destroying
Probably
Martens.
will.
his Doc Martens. And I say it sounds funny, but it's
they
true.
do
This
that.
is about, this gets to us to the point that we talked about earlier. Total erasure.
Exactly.
They won't be happy until
We're eliminated.
We're all eliminated, and the people that follow us are too damn scared to say a word.
I have haters in social media of me in terms of what I say. Prepare, so mute trolls, because I'm getting ready to say it again.
They're putting in a surround sound right now. You know that, right?
Exactly right. The exact point is a bullseye. The issue about Mulvaney at Bud Light, the issue here at Doc Marten, 2 pairs of embracement. Doc Marten is doing the right thing corporately. First off, diversity and inclusion is good for their business, which is why they're doing it first and foremost. Let's not assume that they're doing it because of rainbows and unicorns. It's good for their bottom line. And that's a good enough reason to do 2 versions of this. And at the end of the day, for God's sakes, you crazy nut job from Birmingham, Alabama, why do you care about these 2 versions of Doc Martens? Because Doc Martens doesn't. And the other thing is they just are ahead of the curve. And the whole trans issue is just ahead of the curve. One of the things that I think is surprising all of us is why this LGBT backlash blowback has started over the last number of years. We know, really, at the end of the day, why Crazy Nut Job in Tallahassee is doing it. Because it's good for him, for the blowback of the hardcore base that he is pursuing. But at the end of the day, it's 2 pairs. The trans community are just ahead of the curve. They're getting the crap beaten out of them because they're just ahead of the curve. But let me remind you, trans community, like in this story, of exactly what we saw in early 1960s. Doc Martens prepares two boots in a commemorative fashion where the left boot has Martin Luther King's image on it, and the right boot has Rosa Parks' image on it. Birmingham, Alabama explodes over it. That's exactly what we're watching today. It's just the ignorance of the time of a certain class of people that would respond to every process of change. That's what happened to Jews in 1939. That's what happened to the Japanese Americans in 1942. That is what has happened in segregation in the 1960s, and it's happening to the trans community in 2023. You're ahead of the curve. Doc Martens did the right thing, and we congratulate them for what they did. It's as simple as that.
Well, thank you, Al. Next, let's queer up the worldview. After popular LGBTQ plus was murdered in Grenada, Tyler Perry pledges $100,000 for information. Award-winning filmmaker Tyler Perry is offering a $100,000 reward to anyone with crucial information regarding the tragic murder of Josiah John T. Robinson, a 24-year-old singer in Grenada. In a heartfelt tribute shared to his Instagram, the star shared that Robinson was like a son to his close friend and veteran publicist Yvette Noel Shaw. Many suspect the young man may have been targeted due to his sexuality after his body was discovered on a beach in St. George's, Grenada, early last month. An autopsy report determined that Robinson died from manual strangulation. The Sisters creator shared a post on Instagram that read, quote, "My mind immediately went to Matthew Shepard and all the other victims of racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, xenophobic, senseless violence. The kid was 23. How is this okay? His mother is devastated. The pain of not knowing can be crippling. The pain of not knowing is truly gut-wrenching." End quote. Another case of senseless violence targeting our community. I mean, I would say I'm surprised, but I'm not, which is the tragic part of it. In many parts of the world, including Grenada, hell, including the United States, we are simply not safe. Well, we're not even particularly safe in Europe anymore, with Meloni in Italy getting power and stripping LGBT Italian civil rights away.
Well, I love Tyler Perry. I want to give a big shout out to him. Tyler Perry hides royals. He dresses in drag. He uplifts black people.
Right.
And he loves gays. Okay. So thank you very much, Tyler Perry, for doing that. Grenada is a very conservative and very Christian place, and they're not very gay friendly, right? To the point where the mom had to ask to do the autopsy again because the first time it came out inconclusive. Okay. They didn't give a shit that it was a hate crime towards this poor man that was left on a beach after strangled, right? So they protested and they got them to do the autopsy again where they found that he was strangled. It's horrible.
Steve, I don't know if it's possible, asking our director, can we see his picture again or his mother's picture again? Because it just, look at that. Look at that picture. Look at that smile.
Young man.
That's a smile of joy.
Yeah.
That person that's not fake. That person was living his life with joy. And that's just gone, wiped out. And his mother had a picture up there where she was smiling. She'll never smile like that again.
Right.
And it's all because of ignorant hate. Now, I've gotten to interview Tyler Perry on several occasions, and I can tell you his warmth is genuine, and this gesture backs it up. He genuinely cares about all the underrepresented, all the communities that don't get their due. And so thank you, Tyler Perry, for bringing this to our attention, because honestly, gay hate crimes in Florida barely get attention, much less beautiful people like him in Grenada. So thank you, Tyler.
And it really is something that is all around the globe. I was in Israel last month, and I had been previously, but this time we were cautioned when we went into the West Bank about not having anything that was gay or talked about progressives.
And no one had ever done that before the last time you went?
No, I went, when I went to the West Bank and Ramallah last time I was in Israel, I was very clear on my,
gayness,
queerness. And
you pulled out your card.
Yeah. And we were told to hide that. We were also told that no Jewish symbols, to hide them because of the violence that we could have experienced when we went into the West Bank. It's scary everywhere.
One of the things that I would say, and this is complete happenstance of this, I didn't know that we were reporting on Tyler Perry's reward offer until right prior to the show tonight. Tomorrow, I encourage you to tune in to Queer News Tonight tomorrow, Thursday, August 3rd. Thursday, August 3rd. We're doing an entire special edition of Queer News Tonight called the PrideFête edition. And Saturday a week here in South Florida will be the PrideFête, which is a Caribbean and people of color celebration of Pride. And tomorrow's show completely focuses on the Caribbean and the diversity of the LGBTQ community here in South Florida that is largely driven from the Caribbean, Grenada, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Cuba, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Wonderful things that we love about the Caribbean: its beaches, its destinations, its food, its Junkanoo and festivals, but a lot of stuff that are also really terrible about the Caribbean. And PrideFête and this special edition that we're doing of PrideFête on Queer News Tonight, tomorrow, this special edition focuses on all of that, and I encourage you to tune in. One last thing is Medea does what every person in our LGBTQ community wants. Put your money where your mouth is. And that's what this story is about. Medea does that. I'm specifically saying Medea because of our great love and appreciation for drag and the person behind that drag person.
I would love to see Ron DeSantis trying to arrest Tyler Perry.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church right here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we're broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, then share the news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus broadcast right now on Roku, Apple Television, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of HOTspots magazine, Happening Out television network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including FayWhat, John Hayden, Cindy Brown, and Dr. Bobby Huen. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you
Good night.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ plus evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ plus community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.